There exists a system of wealth creation so powerful, so effective, that those who possess it never speak of it publicly. They operate in silence, building empires while the masses struggle for scraps. This is not a conspiracy. This is observable reality. The wealthy use a completely different operating system than everyone else, and they have zero incentive to share it. What you are about to discover explains why 95% of people work their entire lives and die broke, while 5% accumulate more wealth than they could spend in 10 lifetimes. It explains why hard work often leads to poverty, while those who seem to do less accumulate more. It explains why financial education is deliberately excluded from schools and why the system is designed to keep you trapped. This is the silent wealth system. 12 principles that the wealthy know and apply while keeping them hidden from everyone else. These are not motivational concepts. These are operational strategies that work with mathematical precision. By the end of this audiobook, you will understand exactly why you have struggled financially and exactly what to do to change it forever. Before we begin, hit the like button and comment below where in the world you are watching from. Your engagement helps this forbidden knowledge reach those who need it most. Now let us unlock the secrets they never wanted you to know. Chapter 1, The Silence Principle. The first principle of the silent wealth system is this: real wealth is silent. Those who talk about money don't have it. Those who have it don't talk about it. This is not about being humble or modest. This is strategic silence that protects power. When you announce your success, you invite envy, theft, and attack. When you display wealth, you become a target. When you share your strategies, you create competition. The truly wealthy understand that silence is protection and power. They drive modest cars, wear normal clothes, live in regular neighborhoods. They hide in plain sight while accumulating massive wealth behind closed doors. Marcus built a 7-figure business and made the mistake of talking about it. He posted on social media, told friends, showed off his success. Within months, he was drowning in requests for money, dealing with lawsuits from jealous competitors, and being audited by tax authorities who suddenly took interest. His openness cost him tremendously. He learned too late that the silent wealth system requires actual silence. Compare this to Victoria. She built an 8-figure fortune over 15 years. Her family thought she worked a normal job. Her neighbors had no idea. Her friends assumed she was middle class. She never posted about money, never showed off, never revealed her success. When she finally retired at 45, people were shocked. How did she do it? They had no idea she had been building wealth the entire time because she operated in complete silence. The wealthy know that talking about money activates several destructive forces. First, it triggers other people's scarcity mindset, which creates negative energy directed at you. Second, it invites government scrutiny and increased regulation. Third, it attracts con artists, scammers, and those who want to separate you from your wealth. Fourth, it creates social obligation to help everyone around you. None of these serve wealth building. The principle extends beyond personal silence to operational silence. Don't reveal your business strategies. Don't share your investment approach. Don't disclose your sources or methods. The moment you share what works, others copy it, competition increases, and your advantage disappears. Keep your edge silent. Let results speak while methods remain hidden. This is why wealth dynasties pass knowledge only to their children and never to the public. This is why successful investors refuse to disclose their strategies. This is why billionaires appear boring and normal in public while controlling vast resources privately. Silence protects wealth. Noise destroys it. The practical application is immediate. Stop talking about money. Stop posting about success. Stop revealing your strategies. Operate in silence. Build in private. Let people discover your success after it's undeniable rather than announcing it while vulnerable. The silent wealth system begins with learning to shut up. Chapter 2, The Compound Machine, the second principle, reveals that the wealthy don't work for money. They build machines that compound wealth automatically while they sleep. This is the fundamental difference between rich and poor. Poor people trade time for money. Rich people build systems that multiply money without their time. A machine, in this context, is any system that generates returns repeatedly from a single input. A rental property is a machine. You buy it once, it generates rent monthly forever. A business is a machine. You build it once, it produces profit continuously. A royalty-generating asset is a machine. You create it once, it pays you perpetually. An investment portfolio is a machine. You fund it once, it compounds endlessly. Most people never build machines. They wake up, go to work, trade hours for dollars, and repeat until they die. Each week starts at zero. Each month requires the same labor. They are hamsters on a wheel, running endlessly but never accumulating. The moment they stop running, income stops. This is not a wealth system. This is a survival trap. Daniel worked as a high-paid consultant earning $300,000 annually. He felt successful until he got sick and couldn't work for 6 months. His income dropped to zero. His savings evaporated. He realized he had built nothing. His high income was just sophisticated poverty because it required his continuous labor. He was rich in income, but poor in assets. His friend Patricia earned $100,000 from rental properties. When she got sick, her income continued. The machines kept running. The rents kept flowing. Her illness was inconvenient but not financially catastrophic. She had built a machine that worked without her. This is the difference between high income and real wealth. The wealthy obsessively build machines. Every dollar they earn is deployed into machine building. Buy rental properties. Start businesses. Create intellectual property. Build investment portfolios. Acquire royalty streams. Each machine is another engine of wealth that runs perpetually. Stack enough machines and your passive income exceeds your expenses. This is financial freedom. This is the goal. Poor people spend their money. Middle-class people save their money. Rich people deploy their money into machine building. The wealthy would rather own 1,000 shares of a dividend-paying stock than have $1,000 in cash because the shares are a machine that generates returns forever while cash just sits there losing value to inflation. Here is the mathematical reality. If you earn money through labor and spend it on consumption, you have nothing. You must labor again next month. But if you earn money through labor and deploy it into a machine that returns 10% annually, that machine now generates wealth while you sleep. Build 10 machines and you have 10 income streams. Build 100 machines and you're wealthy. Build 1,000 machines and you're rich beyond measure. The transition from laborer to machine builder is the only path to real wealth. Stop trading time for money. Start building machines that multiply money without your time. This is how dynasties are created and how poverty is escaped. Chapter 3, The Debt Weapon, the third principle, is shocking to most people. Debt is not the enemy of wealth. Debt is the weapon of wealth. But only if you understand the difference between toxic debt and strategic debt. The poor drown in the first, while the rich weaponize the second. Toxic debt is borrowing money to buy things that lose value, car loans, credit cards, consumer debt. These enslave you. You pay interest on depreciating assets. This is financial suicide. Strategic debt is borrowing money to buy assets that appreciate and generate income. Mortgages on rental properties, business loans, investment leverage. This is wealth multiplication. Every billionaire, every wealthy dynasty, every empire was built on massive debt. Not because they couldn't afford to pay cash, but because strategic debt multiplies returns. If you have $1 million and buy a $1 million building with cash, you own one building. If you put $1 million down on 5 buildings using mortgages, you own 5 buildings. Same capital, 5 times the return. This is leverage. Richard believed debt was evil. He saved for 20 years to buy one rental property with cash. No debt, no risk. Safe. His property generated modest returns. Across town, Samantha bought 5 properties using strategic debt. Yes, she had mortgages. Yes, she paid interest. But she had 5 income streams, 5 appreciating assets, and 5 times the wealth accumulation. After 10 years, Richard owned one property worth $300,000. Samantha owned 5 properties worth $2 million. The difference was understanding debt as a weapon. The wealthy use what's called OPM, other people's money. Why risk your own capital when you can borrow at low interest and invest at high returns? If a bank lends you money at 5% and you invest it in something returning 15%, you keep the 10% spread. The bank's money just made you rich. This is the game the wealthy play constantly. But here is the critical distinction. Strategic debt must always be backed by assets that generate income. Never borrow for consumption. Never take debt for depreciating items. Never leverage for speculation. Only use debt to acquire income-producing assets that can service the debt and generate profit. This is disciplined leverage, not reckless gambling. The system teaches you to fear all debt because a debt-free population has no leverage. You stay small, safe, and poor. Meanwhile, corporations and governments operate on massive debt because they understand it as a tool of expansion. They want you avoiding what they use to build empires. Credit cards at 20% interest are toxic debt designed to enslave you. Mortgages at 4% backed by appreciating real estate are strategic debt designed to build wealth. Learn the difference. Avoid the first. Weaponize the second. This is how the silent wealth system operates. Chapter 4, The Tax Code Advantage, the 4th principle, reveals that the tax system is not broken. It is working exactly as designed. It was written by the wealthy to benefit the wealthy. But the code is public. Anyone can use it. Most people just never learn how. Employees get destroyed by taxes. You earn money and 30 to 40% disappears before you ever see it. You have no deductions, no shelters, no strategies. Maximum extraction. This is by design. The system needs employees paying maximum tax to fund everything, while business owners and investors pay minimum tax to accumulate wealth. Business owners play a different game. They earn money through their business, deduct every possible expense, and pay tax only on what remains. A car becomes a business vehicle. Travel becomes business research. Meals become business meetings. A home office becomes a deduction. Education becomes training expenses. Healthcare becomes employee benefits. The wealthy run their life through their business and write off 50% or more of their expenses legally. Investors have even better advantages. Capital gains are taxed lower than income. Dividend income has preferential rates. Real estate investors can defer taxes indefinitely through 1031 exchanges. Depreciation allows writing off properties while they appreciate. Opportunity zones eliminate capital gains entirely. The tax code is an instruction manual for wealth building, but only if you know how to read it. Gregory earned $200,000 as an employee, paid $70,000 in taxes, took home $130,000. His brother Gerald earned $200,000 through his business, wrote off $80,000 in legitimate business expenses, paid tax on $120,000, took home $160,000. Same earnings, $30,000 more wealth accumulation annually. Over 30 years, this difference compounds to millions, not from earning more, but from keeping more. The ultra-wealthy pay single-digit effective tax rates, while the middle class pays 30% plus. This is not evasion. This is understanding the code. Warren Buffett famously pays lower tax rates than his secretary, not because he cheats, but because he earns through capital gains and dividends while she earns through wages. The code rewards wealth building and punishes labor. Here's what they don't teach you. The tax code is a series of incentives. The government wants people to invest in real estate, so it offers depreciation and 1031 exchanges. It wants people to start businesses, so it offers deductions and credits. It wants people to invest in opportunity zones, so it eliminates capital gains. Every tax break is an incentive to do something the government wants done. Follow the incentives, and you pay minimal tax legally. The practical application requires shifting from employee to business owner or investor. Even a small side business opens access to deductions employees never see. Consult a tax strategist, not a basic accountant. Accountants file taxes. Strategists engineer your finances to minimize tax legally. This one shift can save you hundreds of thousands over a lifetime. Stop accepting maximum taxation as inevitable. Learn the code. Use the code. This is what the wealthy do while staying silent about it. Chapter 5, The Invisible Inflation Tax, the Fifth Principle, exposes the silent theft that destroys more wealth than anything else. Inflation. They call it rising prices. They blame supply and demand. But the truth is darker. Inflation is deliberate currency devaluation that transfers wealth from the poor to the rich while most people never understand what's happening. When government prints money, the currency supply increases. More dollars chasing the same goods means each dollar is worth less. Your savings lose purchasing power. What cost $100 last year costs $107 this year. Your money bought less while sitting safely in the bank. You just got robbed by 7% and you didn't even know it. This is not accidental. This is monetary policy designed to benefit those who understand it. When inflation runs at 7% annually and your savings account pays 1% interest, you lose 6% per year in real purchasing power. Keep $100,000 in savings for 10 years and you've lost 40% of its value. The bank thanks you for the loan. The government thanks you for the tax. You got destroyed by invisible theft. Meanwhile, the wealthy protect themselves by owning assets that outpace inflation. Real estate appreciates faster than inflation. Stocks appreciate faster than inflation. Commodities rise with inflation. Business profits increase with inflation. Those who own assets get richer during inflation. Those who hold cash get poorer. This is wealth transfer on a massive scale, invisible to most. Christina saved $70,000 over 15 years, felt responsible and proud. Then she tried to buy a house. The house she wanted cost $150,000 when she started saving. By the time she had $70,000 saved, the same house cost $350,000. Her savings more than doubled. The house price more than doubled even faster. She actually went backward by doing what she was taught was responsible. Her friend Monica bought a small house early using a mortgage. As inflation happened, her mortgage payment stayed the same while home values skyrocketed. She built equity through appreciation while paying the loan with increasingly worthless dollars. Inflation made her wealthy while destroying Christina's savings. This is the hidden tax that no one votes for, but everyone pays. It benefits borrowers and asset owners while destroying savers and wage earners. The system tells you to save money because it benefits banks who lend your money at higher rates. It tells you to work hard for wages because it needs employees. But it never tells you that inflation will silently rob you of everything you accumulate. Here is the brutal truth. In an inflationary system, savers are losers. Cash is trash. The only protection is ownership of real assets. Real estate. Businesses. Stocks. Commodities. Anything tangible that cannot be printed into existence. Convert your labor into assets immediately. hold only enough cash for short-term needs. Everything else goes into inflation-resistant assets. The wealthy understood this generations ago. They own assets. They borrow against those assets at low rates. They let inflation destroy the debt while their assets appreciate. Meanwhile, the middle class saves diligently and watches purchasing power evaporate. This is one of the silent wealth system's most devastating secrets. Stop saving cash. Start buying assets. Chapter 6, The Time Leverage Law, the sixth principle, reveals why working harder keeps you poor while working smarter makes you rich. It's not about effort. It's about leverage. Specifically, time leverage. The wealthy understand that there are only 24 hours in a day. Trading hours for dollars has a mathematical ceiling. Building systems that leverage other people's time has no ceiling. When you work a job, you sell your hours for a fixed price. Even at $1,000 per hour, you can only sell 24 hours maximum. This caps your earning potential. When you own a business with 100 employees, you leverage 2,400 hours daily. When you own rental properties, tenants pay you around the clock. When you create intellectual property, it generates royalties while you sleep. This is time leverage. Most people never escape the time for money trap. They trade 40 years of labor for a paycheck that stops the moment they stop working. They call this a career. The wealthy call it slavery with better furniture. True freedom requires building systems that work without you, leveraging time you don't have to personally invest. Edward was a successful surgeon, earning $500,000 annually. He felt wealthy until he realized he was a highly paid employee. Every dollar required his personal labor. He worked 60 hours weekly, took rare vacations, couldn't retire because income would stop. His high earnings masked his lack of wealth. He had income, not freedom. His college roommate Frank earned $200,000 from businesses and investments. He worked 20 hours weekly, took months off, could retire tomorrow. His businesses ran with managers. His investments compounded automatically. His rental properties generated cash flow perpetually. He had time leverage, which meant he had freedom. The transition from trading time to leveraging time requires building assets that work without you. Employees in your business, managers running operations, systems automating processes, technology replacing human labor. The goal is to remove yourself from the equation while income continues. Here is the framework. Phase 1. You work in the business doing everything. Phase 2. You hire people to do the tasks. Phase 3. You hire managers to manage the people. Phase 4. You exit operations entirely and simply collect profits. Most people never leave Phase 1. The wealthy relentlessly push toward Phase 4 in everything they build. This applies beyond business. In real estate, you can manage properties yourself or hire property managers. In investing, you can actively trade or buy index funds that work automatically. In every area, ask yourself, how can I get the result without my time? The answers create leverage. The poor sell their time. The middle class saves their time. The rich multiply their time through leverage. Every hour you work should be building systems that generate results without future hours. This is how you escape the time trap and enter real wealth. Chapter 7, The Market Timing Myth, the seventh principle, destroys one of the biggest lies in finance. You don't need to time the market to build wealth. In fact, trying to time the market keeps most people poor. The wealthy understand that time in the market beats timing the market. Consistency and duration matter more than perfect entry points. The masses wait for the perfect moment to invest, waiting for the crash, waiting for the bottom, waiting for certainty. They wait and wait and wait while the wealthy deploy capital consistently regardless of conditions. 20 years later, the waiter has nothing and the deployer has millions. Not because they timed perfectly, but because they played consistently. Michael tried to time real estate markets for 15 years. He waited for the crash. Then when it crashed, he waited for the bottom. Then when he thought it was the bottom, he waited to be certain. Prices recovered, and he missed it. He waited for the next crash. Repeated the cycle. 15 years later, he owned nothing. His friend, who bought consistently without timing, owned 12 properties and had built substantial wealth. The mathematics are clear. Investing $1,000 monthly for 30 years at average market returns creates more wealth than trying to invest $50,000 at perfect timing. Consistency and compound time destroy the importance of entry point. The sooner you start and the longer you maintain, the wealthier you become regardless of when you started. This is why the wealthy use dollar cost averaging. They invest the same amount every month regardless of market conditions. When prices are high, they buy less. When prices are low, they buy more. Over decades, they accumulate massive positions without needing to predict anything. The strategy is boring, unsexy, and incredibly effective. The timing myth keeps people on the sidelines forever. Waiting for perfect conditions means never deploying capital. Meanwhile, those who deploy imperfectly but consistently build empires. Perfect timing might optimize returns by 5%. Consistent deployment versus waiting optimizes returns by 500%. Real estate investors who bought properties in boom times often outperform those who waited for crashes because they benefited from years of appreciation and cash flow while the waiters had nothing. Stock investors who bought during peaks still built wealth if they held long enough. The market rewards participation over precision. The practical application is this: stop waiting. Start deploying. Pick your investment vehicle and commit to consistent contributions regardless of market conditions. Real estate, stocks, business, whatever aligns with your knowledge and goals. Then deploy systematically month after month for decades. This boring strategy beats sophisticated timing attempts nearly every time. The silent wealth system is built on consistency, not cleverness. Deploy capital now. Keep deploying. Let time and compounding do the work. This is how normal people build abnormal wealth. Chapter 8, The Association Multiplier, the eighth principle, states that your income will be the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This is not motivational fluff. This is observable reality. Your associations either multiply or limit your wealth. The wealthy choose associations deliberately for maximum advantage. When you surround yourself with people who complain about money, you will complain about money. When you surround yourself with people who earn $50,000 annually, $50,000 becomes your ceiling. When you surround yourself with people who think wealth is luck or evil, you will unconsciously sabotage your own success to fit in. Your social environment programs your beliefs, behaviors, and results, whether you realize it or not. Diana grew up in a community where 6-figure incomes were rare and viewed with suspicion. Everyone complained about the rich. Success was attributed to luck or corruption. Diana absorbed these beliefs deeply. Even as she tried to build wealth, unconscious programming held her back. She felt guilty charging premium prices, felt uncomfortable in upscale environments, sabotaged opportunities that would have elevated her beyond her peer group. Then she forced herself to join a mastermind of successful entrepreneurs. At first, she felt like an imposter. Their normal was her impossible. They casually discussed 7-figure deals while she struggled with 5-figure goals. But slowly, their normal became her normal. What seemed impossible became ordinary. Her standards rose. Her beliefs shifted. Within 18 months, her income tripled. The only thing that changed was her associations. This works through multiple mechanisms. First, mirror neurons. Your brain unconsciously mimics those around you. Spend time with successful people, and you absorb their thought patterns, habits, and behaviors. Second, opportunity flow. Wealthy people know other wealthy people. They share deals, partnerships, and insider information. Access to their network is access to opportunities. Third, Standard elevation. Your behavior unconsciously adjusts to match your environment's expectations. The masses stay in comfortable associations that validate their current level. They network with people at the same income, same struggles, same limiting beliefs. This creates an echo chamber that feels supportive but prevents growth. Real support pushes you beyond comfort, not validates your limitations. The wealthy invest heavily in high-level associations, masterminds, exclusive clubs, private events, advisory boards. They pay tens of thousands annually to be in rooms with people ahead of them. This seems expensive until you realize one connection, one insight, one partnership from these associations can generate millions. The return on association investment is unlimited. Here's the difficult truth. To rise, you must leave behind some people you care about, not with cruelty, but with necessity. You cannot grow into a new level while maintaining associations designed for your old level. Some relationships must decrease. New ones must be cultivated. This creates guilt and loss, but it's the price of transformation. The practical application requires brutal honesty. Audit your 5 closest relationships. Are these people where you want to be financially? Are they supportive of your growth or subtly undermining? Then deliberately reduce time with those who limit you and invest in associations with those ahead of you. Join paid communities. Attend high-level events. Hire coaches who have results you want. Proximity to success creates success. Your associations determine your trajectory. Choose wisely. Chapter 9, The Delayed Gratification Advantage, the 9th principle, is the single greatest predictor of wealth. The ability to delay gratification. Those who can wait build empires. Those who need immediate satisfaction stay broke. The entire consumer economy is designed to destroy this ability, ensuring you remain trapped. The famous marshmallow experiment proved this. Children who could wait 15 minutes for 2 marshmallows instead of eating one immediately grew up significantly wealthier, healthier, and more successful. The ability to delay predicted outcomes better than IQ, family background, or any other factor. Patience is power. Impatience is poverty. Every advertisement, every credit card offer, every marketing message is engineered to trigger immediate consumption. Buy now, pay later. Limited time offer. 0% financing. Don't wait. Act today. The system needs you consuming immediately because delayed gratification builds wealth while immediate consumption builds their wealth. Kevin earned $80,000 annually and spent $78,000. Every paycheck disappeared on immediate wants, new phones, weekend trips, restaurant meals, impulse purchases. He was always broke despite good income. 30 years later, he owned nothing but memories and debt. His inability to delay gratification destroyed every opportunity for wealth. His brother Marcus earned $70,000 and spent $50,000. The $20,000 difference went to investments. He delayed gratification on things that didn't matter to build wealth that did. 30 years later, his investment portfolio generated more income than his salary ever did. He retired early while Kevin worked until death. The difference was the ability to say, "Not now." Wealth building requires planting seeds and waiting for harvest. Investing today for returns tomorrow. Trading current pleasure for future security. Sacrificing immediate consumption for long-term abundance. This is unnatural. Our brains are wired for immediate reward. Overcoming this wiring is what separates the wealthy from everyone else. The wealthy master delayed gratification in everything. They don't buy the new car. They invest the money and buy the car later with the profits. They don't take the luxury vacation. They build the business and take longer vacations later when passive income covers it. They don't consume their earnings. They deploy them and consume the returns. Always delay. Always build. Always compound. This principle extends beyond money. Delayed gratification in health means exercising now for vitality later. In relationships, it means having difficult conversations now for harmony later. In education, it means studying now for opportunities later. The pattern is universal. Short-term sacrifice, long-term gain. Here's the practice that builds this muscle. Every time you want to make an impulse purchase, wait 72 hours. If you still want it after 3 days, buy it. Most times, the desire fades. This simple practice saves thousands annually and trains delayed gratification. For larger purchases, wait 30 days. For major financial decisions, wait 90 days. Train yourself to pause, consider, and choose consciously rather than react impulsively. The wealthy think in decades while the poor think in days. Start thinking longer. Every choice you make is voting for the future you want. Immediate gratification votes for current pleasure and future poverty. Delayed gratification votes for current discipline and future abundance. Cast enough votes, and the election is won. Chapter 10, The Financial Ignorance Design, the 10th Principle, reveals the uncomfortable truth. Financial ignorance is not accidental. It is designed. The education system deliberately excludes financial literacy because workers don't need to understand money. They need to understand obedience, punctuality, and following instructions. Teaching wealth building would create entrepreneurs, not employees. You spent 12 to 16 years in education and learned nothing about money, investing, business, or wealth building. Not because these topics are too advanced. Calculus was taught. Shakespeare was analyzed. Photosynthesis was memorized. But nothing about how money works, how to build wealth, or how to achieve financial freedom. This is intentional design. The system needs workers who stay workers. The wealthy receive private financial education from childhood. They learn about trusts, tax strategies, investment vehicles, and asset protection at the dinner table. They inherit knowledge that compounds across generations. Meanwhile, public education produces graduates who understand nothing about finance and are completely dependent on systems controlled by others. Emily graduated with honors, followed all the rules, got the stable job, saved in her 401k, did everything she was taught. At 60, she realized her retirement account wouldn't support her lifestyle. She had been told to save and invest, but nobody taught her how or why or what vehicles to use. She blindly followed advice designed to benefit financial institutions, not her. Her college roommate Victoria skipped traditional employment, spent her 20s learning about real estate, businesses, and investments outside any institution. Retired at 45 with passive income exceeding her expenses. She educated herself in what schools refused to teach. Same intelligence, different knowledge, dramatically different outcomes. The system wants you financially illiterate because it profits from your ignorance. Credit card companies profit when you don't understand compound interest. Banks profit when you think savings accounts build wealth. Financial advisors profit when you believe you need their expensive services. The less you understand, the more they extract. Here's what they don't teach deliberately. How the Federal Reserve creates money from nothing. How inflation is a hidden tax. How the tax code rewards business owners and destroys employees. How debt can be a wealth-building tool. How passive income is the only path to freedom. How compounding creates exponential wealth. None of this is taught because teaching it would undermine systems that profit from your ignorance. The practical application requires taking responsibility for your own financial education. Read books written by wealthy people, not financial journalists. Take courses from those with results, not credentials. Study tax code, not from accountants but from tax strategists. Learn about real estate from investors with portfolios, not from real estate agents. Seek knowledge from those who have what you want, not from those credentialed to teach what keeps you where you are. The wealthy invest at least 10% of income in education. Books, courses, masterminds, coaches. They understand that knowledge has unlimited return. Close your knowledge gap and you close your wealth gap. Stay ignorant and stay poor. This is the design. Reject it. Chapter 11, The Ownership Imperative, the 11th principle, declares that employees build wealth for owners. Owners build wealth for themselves. If you want wealth, you must own something. Anything. The transition from employee to owner is the transition from poverty to prosperity, regardless of income level. Ownership can take many forms. Owning a business, owning real estate, owning intellectual property, owning investments, owning royalty streams. The specific vehicle matters less than the act of ownership itself. Owners receive unlimited upside. Employees receive fixed compensation. This is the fundamental difference. An employee can work for 40 years and build nothing. Their labor creates value that owners capture. They receive enough to return tomorrow, but never enough to leave. When they stop working, income stops. When they retire, they're dependent on systems they don't control. They traded their life for temporary money and own nothing permanent. An owner can work for 10 years and build something that generates wealth for generations. Their labor creates assets they control. They receive profits, not wages. When they stop working, the asset continues producing. When they retire, they own something valuable that can be sold or passed to heirs. They traded their time for permanent ownership. Richard worked 30 years as a top engineer, earned great money, saved diligently. At retirement, he had a pension and some savings. Lived comfortably, but not abundantly. His colleague who left engineering early to start a small manufacturing company built a business worth millions, sold it, and retired wealthy. Same field, same skills, different approach. Employee versus owner. The shift from employee to owner requires building something beyond your job. You don't need to quit tomorrow, you need to start building today. A side business, a rental property, an investment portfolio. Anything that you own and that generates value independent of your labor. Start small. Build gradually. But start. Here is the mathematical reality. Employment trades time for money at fixed rates. Ownership trades time for equity that appreciates. Over decades, equity appreciation compounds far beyond what wages could ever produce. Even a small business or a single rental property owned for 30 years builds more wealth than high income saved conservatively. The system discourages ownership. It promotes climbing the corporate ladder, being a loyal employee, working for someone else's dream. Why? Because owners are harder to control. Owners have options. Owners can say no. The system needs employees who have no choice but to comply. The practical application is this. Whatever you do for employment, start building ownership in parallel. If you're in tech, start a small software product. If you're in real estate, buy one rental. If you're in consulting, create intellectual property. Use your employment income to fund ownership acquisition. Don't just earn and spend, earn and buy assets. This is how you transition from worker to wealthy. Employees rent their lives from employers. Owners own their lives and rent to employees. Choose which side you want to be on and act accordingly. Chapter 12, The Inheritance Advantage, the final principle, addresses what makes generational wealth different from first-generation wealth. The wealthy don't just build wealth. They structure it to pass through generations, compounding family power across centuries. This is the ultimate expression of the silent wealth system. Building wealth that outlives you. Most people focus on making money in their lifetime. The wealthy focus on creating dynastic structures that persist for generations. Trusts, foundations, family offices, corporate entities, these are not just tax shelters. They are wealth preservation and multiplication systems that ensure family power compounds indefinitely. When you earn money as an individual and spend it or save it, That wealth dies with you or gets taxed away. When you build wealth inside proper structures, it can grow for centuries. The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Vanderbilts, these families didn't just get rich. They built systems that made their descendants rich forever. This is the difference between having money and building legacy. Robert built a successful business and died wealthy. His children sold the business and spent the money within 15 years. The wealth died in one generation. His competitor built a similar business but structured it inside a family trust with clear succession, education requirements for heirs, and wealth preservation rules. 5 generations later, that family still controls wealth that is multiplied beyond what the founder ever imagined. The wealthy teach their children about money from birth. They require financial education. They involve them in family businesses. They show them how wealth is built and preserved. By the time these children inherit, they're prepared to steward and grow what they received. Meanwhile, most people's children inherit money with no education in how to manage it and lose everything quickly. Here is the brutal truth. If you build wealth in your lifetime but don't structure it properly and don't educate your heirs, you have not built wealth. You have built a pile that will be distributed to creditors, lawyers, and the FADI tax system after you die. Proper structure and heir education are as important as wealth accumulation itself. The structures the wealthy use are accessible to anyone with enough assets. Trusts protect assets from taxes and lawsuits. LLCs provide liability protection and tax advantages. Family offices manage wealth professionally across generations. These are not just for billionaires. Even modest wealth benefits from proper structuring. The practical application requires thinking beyond your lifetime. If you have children, start teaching them about money now. Let them see you invest. Explain business. Show them how wealth is built. Don't shelter them from financial realities. Prepare them to inherit wisely. And structure whatever you build inside proper legal entities that protect and preserve. The silent wealth system is called silent because the truly wealthy operate behind corporate veils, trust structures, and legal entities that hide their ownership. They don't own things personally. Their structures own things. This protects from taxes, lawsuits, and public scrutiny while allowing wealth to compound indefinitely. Start building with the end in mind, not just your financial freedom, but your family's generational prosperity. This is how you move from making money to building legacy. You now possess the 12 principles of the silent wealth system. You understand why most stay broke while few build wealth. You see the patterns the wealthy use while keeping them hidden. The question is no longer what to do. The question is whether you will do it. These principles work with mathematical precision. Those who apply them prosper. Those who ignore them struggle. This is not opinion. This is observable across all of human history. The wealthy of every generation have used these exact principles in different forms to build and maintain power. The system does not want you to know this. It benefits from your ignorance. It profits from your poverty. It requires your compliance. But you now have the knowledge to break free. Whether you use it is entirely up to you. Choose one principle to implement immediately. Master it completely. Then add the next. Don't try to do everything at once. Depth beats breadth. Consistent application of one principle will transform your finances more than superficial application of all 12. I have created a detailed action guide for each principle. You will find it linked in the pinned comment. Download it. Study it. Apply it.